brain that is incredibly exciting and again leads to many revelatory possibilities. He's got a PBS series called Brain, multi-part. He spoke at TED in 2015, a totally memorable talk. And so anyway, we're going to go on an amazing journey together. Please welcome David Eagleman.
Great, thanks. Such a pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
So, the task for you is to help us understand the miracle that happens in the brain, this couple pounds of squishy stuff locked in a skull that despite all that somehow manages to create every single thing that we actually care about. It's a miracle, right?
Yeah, I would say.
So, in your talk in 2015, you spoke about this model of the brain that you called Mr. Potato Head. And I'd like you to recap that model, because I think it really paves the way nicely for what's to come.
Yeah, something I've always been interested in is the brain is locked in silence and darkness inside the skull, and all that you have in there are spikes, these little electrical spikes of these chemicals. And if I were to show you a part of the brain with some magical microscope where you could see all these spikes, I said, hey Chris, is that the visual part of the brain or auditory or touch? You couldn't tell me. I couldn't tell you because it's all the same. It looks the same everywhere in the brain. And so the part that got me interested is, how does this system create the colors and the light and the smell and the touch and all that stuff, given that it's really just zeros and ones going on in there. So anyway, I got interested in the senses, and the model I ended up proposing is this potato head model, which is that it doesn't matter how you get information in there, the brain will figure out what to do with it, because that's what's really good at doing. Essentially, it's a all-purpose compute device, and whatever spikes it's getting, it says, oh, that's relevant for my behavior. I can do something with that. And so the potato head model is simply that you can switch the things around and maybe even build completely new senses and plug them in anywhere, and it doesn't matter.
So we'll come on to that part a bit more, but let's start first of all thinking about someone with all five senses, if it is five, basically working kind of, quote, as normal. Talk a bit about this miracle of how this brain in the dark of a baby sort of developing. You've got this blizzard of incoming, just electrical signals, and yet somehow after a year or two, they are interpreted as there is a face that I love and light up to, and if I say, Mama, something smiles, and if I say, wah, water comes or milk comes or something, like how are those pieces possibly